What are the biggest challenges that graduates from international countries face when they try to land their first job?
Don't just want to get an engineering job because you're an engineer, like work out.
So let's talk about international recruitment.
Construction started for me when I joined Davidson Recruitment in Brisbane.
What are readily available roles engineers might find? How did you actually maintain this interest towards construction? And
Good question, Sassy.
you're a born warrior.
I'm a born warrior.
So how did I land my first job?
My mum gave birth to me in a war zone.
Welcome to my channel. Today's guest is someone I've known for a while, Mark Pilkington, the director of Netwerx. I first met Mark a few years ago when I've just arrived in Australia as an international student. Like many new arrivals, I was trying to figure out where to start, and Mark was the one who helped me, and since then he's become a good friend, always calling to check in and see how I'm doing. Mark knows the headaches in construction, what companies face, from chasing skilled workers to keeping projects moving. He spent years turning those hiring challenges into success stories, and he's here to share how the industry is changing and what the future of finding great people really looks like. And today we are going to talk about what's changing in recruitment and where the future is headed. So I'm keen to hear more about you, Mark. So tell me, where did you start, and tell a bit about yourself.
That's a big question.
Yeah.
Recruitment started in 2000.
Yeah.
And I had the privilege of looking after an industrial bakery with 120 people in it.
Yeah.
I was 22 years old.
Oh, yeah.
And landed this job to come and manage a 24/7 bakery operation with 120 people on a roster, and that was my job. And I went with my branch manager, Tony Reed, at the time.
Yeah.
And we went to the site manager for the bakery. There's a guy named Andrew Meek.
Right.
And we walked in for the first client visit, and the first thing he said to us was, "My goal is to get rid of this agency off this site. So welcome to recruitment." So I'd quit my job, my first client visit that was my job to carry on with, to be told that, my whole job is to get rid of you guys. So that was my introduction into recruiting, and we had that client for another 3 or 4 years since that point. So, so wild ride in labour hire. I've joined it was a 24/7 operation. So back then, the recruitment consultants were like going out to nightclubs and stuff with their laptops, and 10:30, 11 o'clock at night they'd get an after hours call, so they'd have to duck out of the club to try and fill a job, and it just sucked. So it was after hours consultants came in at that point, so we didn't have to manage that anymore. But so it started off just really bulk labour hire. We had Brisbane City Council, we had Volvo trucks, manufacturing trucks. We had large volume recruitment campaigns in manufacturing, warehousing, and construction was where I really started in 2000. So it's like literally 25 years ago.
Yeah, right.
So that's crazy.
How did you actually maintain this interest towards construction, and how did you choose your niche?
Construction started for me when I joined Davidson Recruitment in Brisbane, and they just had a very elite property and construction recruitment team, very successful. And I had the privilege of working in the business support desk, or the business support area of Davidson Recruitment. And honestly, I got handed a lot of jobs to fill in business support from the property and construction senior recruitment team at Davidson's. And that was where I had a look into, I was filling project admin, EAs, office support, crazy fun. And from that point, I was poached from another agency to work in the construction recruitment. Yeah, so that was 2007, 2008. When the GFC started, I was working in my first construction recruitment job in the GFC, global financial chaos.
Right, that's very interesting to know.
That's a long answer.
Can you describe how a normal day to you look like in construction over these years? Has it changed much? And your work style, work-life balance? How was it from the day when you started, and how do you feel right now?
It's just the industry's changed so much. A normal day as a recruitment consultant started on like $26,000 a year, by the way. Huge money. And
By then, yeah.
I was one of these people who fell into the recruitment industry like a lot of people do. Like, I was approached and I didn't even know the industry existed. I didn't know there was money in like the recruitment industry. I didn't know what it was. And I just really had the benefit and fortunate enough to get an opportunity. An average day has changed for me a lot over 25 years. And in those days, you know, I've done things from, you know, I used to train warehouse workers in cold storage in minus 26 degrees at 4:30 in the morning, teaching people how to pick orders and how to hit their pick rates. And so we used to recruit the staff and train the staff. I've done everything from that to like doing a CIO search, you know, and then everything in between. So there's no such thing as a normal day. It sounds like a trick question.
No.
Yeah.
No, I understand. So
Yeah, it depends what season you're in. At this point in time, like my wife and I started our own business. I'm 48 years old, so I'm kind of late to the game
yeah.
in terms of starting my own business. And there hasn't been a normal day since I started my business.
So keen to know what actually pushed you or pulled towards starting your own business. When you were working with someone, what made you thought you could start your own business by then? Is that something you wanted to like put into your different own thoughts into recruitment, or what was the reason?
I think it came from a place where I've just always wanted to do something for myself. As in, I've always wanted to be in business and wanted to start a business and fascinated by business. I mean, I was the sort of person that would buy like sherbet straws for 20 cents on the way to school and then sell them to the, you know, grade 5ers at 40 cents and try and make a few dollars.
Try to make the difference.
Yeah, and I don't feel like I've done justice to any of my employers, to be honest, over the years as an employee. I think I've delivered good results, but I just never had my full blown self.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like, well,
Do what's just required. Was that something you did?
Yes, mediocrity. I've been there,
Yeah.
and it still plagues me occasionally.
Yeah, right.
I have to fight that. But I think it's almost like, well, you know, you can't complain about your employer if you're not willing to do this yourself.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to back myself, even if it landed in a huge pile of fire somewhere or something terrible happens. I just had to do it.
Yeah.
It was more of like a thinking ahead, looking back, saying if I had tried and you know, I'd rather have tried and it didn't work than just not try and wonder could it have worked.
Yeah.
You know,
That's right.
that's how I feel about. I'm grateful for my previous employers and 25 years of, you know, different bosses and different things. Had met some amazing people and just thought, Pilko, seriously, you just got to do this for yourself.
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
And finally, you've got there. It's been how many years now?
The business?
Yes.
Our new business?
Yes.
I left my day job in February 24.
Yeah.
And between February and July, we married off 2 daughters within 6 months.
Oh, okay.
And we had my mum visit. We had just a lot of family time, so we really kicked off July 1, I feel.
Yeah.
So it's been 12 months.
Right.
Yeah. In terms of, you know, driving this. Some people start a business like they've got a box ready, they leave their employer and they just pop up.
Yeah.
And they launch all their marketing and they do all their stuff. I didn't know myself. I just wanted to take my time, marry off my kids, spend time with the family.
Yeah.
So it's been a slow launch for me, and if I'm being brutally honest, I don't think we've even really started our business. Well, we haven't really launched our business fully.
Yeah.
And we're a year in.
Yeah.
But I'm starting to feel comfortable in this role, and
Yeah.
We've based ourselves now in Mary Street, Brisbane.
Right.
So I'm going to give these guys a quick plug. It's not going to go for long, but this is the Clubhouse on Mary Street, number 200 Mary Street. So we're just enjoying being able to invite candidates, clients up here, give them a beer if they want, have a chat, have a coffee, and it's just a great environment. So I looked that one up, and yeah, I won't plug them too hard.
So that's where we are here now.
We are here now in the Clubhouse in Mary Street. So
you got a beautiful boardroom.
I've been here for a week and a half.
Yeah.
And just the visits, the interaction already is just natural and just works. So I was working from home in Shayla Park, out of our garage office, and we have an office in Springwood with a business partner.
Yeah.
So Omni Recruit, been operating for 11 years, payroll a massive amount of people in manufacturing, logistics, hospitality.
Yeah.
They have an office in every state in Australia, and we can use one of their Springwood offices whenever we need. But I wanted to base myself in the CBD, so this just makes sense.
And you've joined along with your wife this journey, isn't it?
Yes, so my wife has been married to me for 26 years as of yesterday. So her background, and when I got into recruitment, there was enough there we had 4 children, and at this point in time, the oldest is 23, the youngest is 18, and there's 2 girls in between, so 4 daughters.
Yeah.
And so her background was really raising the kids for 10 years, and then for the last 15 years almost, it's a part-time work. She's done executive assistant roles, shipping coordination, document control, an absolute weapon with lots of areas where I'm just completely deficient in.
Yep.
And which makes us clash occasionally, but we do work it out. It's we've been together for a long time, so
I understand.
Clashing is normal.
Right. So Mark, take us back to where you actually started and where you're born and how you turned up here.
Yeah, good question, Sassy. Well, I was born in Zimbabwe, in South Africa, which is at that point in time 1976. So there's my age. There was a war on,
okay,
and my mum gave birth to me in the war zone, and we fled South Africa or Zimbabwe to New Zealand.
So you're a born warrior already.
Hey,
you're a born warrior.
A born warrior. Yeah, I've got some great Zimbabwe friends.
Yeah.
Some Zimbabwean brothers, and I grew up here since I was 5 years old in Australia.
Yeah.
So effectively, I was born in Africa, raised by Kiwi parents, live in Australia. So when it comes to rugby, I'm literally like Tri-Nations.
Yeah.
But even with Kiwi parents, I'm a hard-out Wallaby supporter.
All right.
I played rugby since I was 4 years old.
Oh, right.
In under 7, so my dad put me on a field with 7-year-olds when I was 4 years old. So there's a recipe for trauma.
Yeah.
But so I played, very, very young in team sports, and just knew there was a pack of animals around me.
Yeah.
Played rugby for 10 years. I busted my collarbone when I was 15 pretty badly, and ended up doing, from that point, from 16 to probably 8 years, just full on martial arts. Went into karate, kickboxing, fought in some titles, and I came second in Australia and second in Queensland. So unfortunately, I've got the number 2 honour there. That was kind of my sporting growing up. It was rugby, martial arts. That's it.
So there's nothing wrong saying you're a warrior.
Well, yeah. Oh, I'm fairly placid.
Yeah, right.
I'm pretty meek.
Yeah.
So I don't like to fight. I hated it, but I knew when if it's time, it's time. It's just you got no choice. So
yeah.
And being thrown onto a rugby pitch at 4 years old kind of teaches you a bit about getting beaten up. Yeah.
Go through the tough things of life.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a New Zealand parent thing. I think a lot of their kids start 3 or 4 years old, just catch a ball, run, get hit. Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Next topic would be on some advices that you would give to candidates. So let's talk about what are the important mistakes that candidates do that actually stop them from hiring?
Yeah.
What are three? What are
About
important
getting
mistakes?
hired?
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's first and foremost, it's like knowing, let's say as an engineer, like knowing what you're good at. So engineering is very broad. And do you like being in the office working on pricing things, or do you like, overseeing contractors and being involved on the delivery? And I think it's knowing where you, after you've been in uni for a while, come out the other end, get some type of role in engineering, but it's just have the freedom to be honest with yourself about what you're actually really good at in engineering. To narrow it down a bit. So when you talk about that in interviews, you're going to have posture, you're going to have confidence, you're actually going to be excited. Don't just want to get an engineering job because you're an engineer. Like, work out which part of this project life cycle you're going to add the most value to is very important.
Yeah.
If you know that, and then that's a big win. If you're just going in, like applying for jobs, just wanting any old job.
Yeah.
So I would really encourage people to figure out what they want, and sometimes that takes work.
Yeah.
And writing things down and being honest with yourself. You might really, really suck at being on site dealing with contractors, but you might be able to price things.
Yeah.
And you might enjoy that. So just focus on that. Work out what you're really good at.
Yeah.
And don't disregard the numbers that are required to land that next job. It's not like apply for one person and then wait. You have to be researching the companies you're applying for. That's the other one, is like knowing what projects they've got on, like, understanding through the media, like a bit about that company and about the person you're about to interview with, knowing their background.
Yeah.
And having a couple of questions. And people love people that are inquisitive and curious, and they ask questions, and it's try and be less interesting and more interested in the customer.
Yeah.
We all walk into interviews thinking, I've got to talk about myself, and you get a bit overwhelmed. But just focus on it. You might find yourself sold yourself into a job that you don't actually want or like.
Yeah.
Like, then you're in another world of pain. So, first and foremost, it's helpful if people sit down, spend some time about this, which part of engineering am I going to add the most value to?
Yeah. Maybe I'm going to stop you there and ask, before we get into detail, as Netwerx, what are the different roles you actually hire, and how you treat different people in, like, specializing?
Yeah. So as Netwerx, we see ourselves as providing two strains of service. One is support. We call it project support services, and that can be anything that, in the office, estimating, document control, commercial management, admin, project controls, so planning, cost control, all these functions that operate in project support services. In my opinion, it's like a support service. And the second part of what we do is engineering delivery. So site engineer, project engineers, PMs, senior PEs, project directors. And in my brain, that's how I've kind of like segregated the service offering that Netwerx provides to our clients.
Yeah.
Some we've won, we got on a panel with a client recently where they only put us on the project controls and project support services panel, and not the engineering delivery, which frustrated the heck out of me. But so we do genuinely pitch two different areas, and we can do it all.
Yeah.
But some clients just say, no, we've got the engineering covered. We want you here, or we've got here covered. We need an engineer. So it's kind of support services, engineering delivery. That's Netwerx.
Right.
Yeah.
So when thinking about how candidates make a mistake, so think about, say, in someone as a senior person, like managers, compared to when, say, there's a junior person, like, site engineers or graduates. What sort of mistakes do each make? Like, what mistakes does senior people make? What mistakes does, entry-level people make?
In the hiring process?
Yes, in the hiring process, or in general, do you see any pattern?
The pattern is, I'm going to repeat myself over and over. The pattern I see often is people just don't know what they want.
Yeah.
And they don't do enough numbers
Yep.
to get, and you know, you're dealing with a recruiter. A good recruiter should be able to put you up between 5 and 10 companies and get you a result. But I would suggest unless that recruiter is super proactive and in touch with you and you feel comfortable that this guy's actually doing or girl is doing what he or she says they're doing, then you should explore and you should be on LinkedIn and seek, and they just don't do enough, because it's like you're making a decision that could affect the next 5 to 10 years of your life.
That's correct, yeah.
So you should be interviewing the construction companies and working out, is this where I wanted to plant myself?
Not the other way.
Not the other way. Unless you're happy being a contractor and you just want to jump in like a gun for hire and do 3-6 month gigs, and it's just a transaction. But if you're looking for a home and to grow your career, and the other flip side or the addition to that would be find mentors all the way along. Yeah. People who are at least, there's probably people who are 1 step ahead and people who are 5 steps ahead. You kind of need a mixture to know there's some path for you to follow. So I think it's so important that engineers and anyone that going into a job interview knows a little bit about their direction, their values, where they want to be. Yeah. And at the end of the interview, even if nothing specific was said, you'll know, you'll pick it up. You'll go, no, that's not the place for me.
Right.
You know, and having said that, if you're like a brand new engineer, just graduated, no one's going to judge you if you jump into a role and 6 months later, it's all cooked and it was just a bad idea. No one's going to judge that. So you should just tackle something that's going to challenge you. Yeah. You know, you're not in school, you're not in uni, you're now in the big bad world, and having those mentors and peers around you when you take on those roles is critical.
Possibly many students could be watching this who wants to, make their first placement, or they might be 1 or 2 years into the industry, right? Is there something, do you have tips for them? Say, don't do these mistakes. And is there something you want to say, please do this?
I would say it's more of a do this than don't do that.
Yeah.
Like, what I mean is there's more action rather than don't. You're better off doing a whole bunch of stuff and then getting an outcome than just focusing on what not to do. Yeah. And especially when you're just new and you don't need to explore. Like, why not have 10 interviews and then, if you can get them. Yeah. And the things to do, I would suggest, LinkedIn. Like, LinkedIn is an amazing, powerful tool. Amazingly powerful tool. And to have a good profile, engage, even if it's just liking someone else's comment. Yeah. Just be there. And then you'll see something and you might private message something you've seen, and a guy or a business leader, a guy or girl, you have to cut that bit out. So if I mention that, that's bad. You need to you spend good quality time on LinkedIn engaging. Yeah. Make sure your profile's up to date. Don't be afraid to reach out to someone who you see is a potentially in an influential engineering position. Yeah. And you've been following their posts for a little bit. Yeah. Just shoot them a message. Hey mate, my name's Billy or whatever, and been following your post. Just want to let you know I really appreciate what you've been sending. And just be engaged, optimistic. Optimism's a Well, me being a student as well before, and I've heard some people say that. So when you try contacting, say, managers, like say construction managers or project managers, even sometimes recruiters, they, since they're getting nagged by a lot of students, they don't usually reply because they're busy. What kind of approach do you think that could work? First of all, if you're a student in that situation, don't just rely on a recruiter. Yeah. You gotta kind of take some participation in your own rescue. Yeah. And I think that's life. I don't think it's just students looking for jobs. Yeah. So be proactive. Look at the grad programs on everyone. Just go like an animal, and don't stop until you get the result. Yeah. It could be 50 reach outs. It could be
Is there a
one.
specific approach you like? Say if you're contacting a construction manager through email or through LinkedIn message, what's the best way to approach? Because they're mostly busy people.
Yeah.
Is there any like?
The absolute, my opinion, best way is to front up to some events that are engineering, construction related. The university could put some on that are free. Sometimes there's lots of very affordable things to go and buy a coffee and be present in front of people. Because that just makes you different today. Because you're in the flesh and you're in front of someone.
Yeah.
Our whole industry has been driven by teams, and I could sit in my garage in Logan and sit on the phone, but it's different being in town, right? So it's if I'm an engineer who's hungry to find my next 2-3 year job, or up to 5-year career path, I would be hunting LinkedIn and Eventbrite and working out where are these people meeting.
Oh yeah, Eventbrite is supposed to be a good information, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if you strike up a conversation at one of those events and they like you and you like them and there's a little bit of synergy,
that's where it starts.
That's powerful. And then if you message them on LinkedIn a week or two later, they're going to remember you.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
And so you move to a country, you land in Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, wherever you land.
Yeah.
Eventbrite, LinkedIn, events. How can I front up to something? Yeah. Ask the universities. I'm an engineer. I'm qualified. What do you do to help engineering people get into industry? And you've got to be hunting it.
Yeah.
It doesn't turn up.
Yeah.
It doesn't turn up for any student from any country.
Yeah.
You have to chase and fight and follow people up. I love people nag me and text me. I actually like it, but I set it up so they're not waiting for me to call. I generally, because we deal with so many people, I'm looking at this Cub house up here in Mary Street and thinking, well, we'll run events here and bring candidates together.
Yeah.
To maximise that, because recruiters can't be all over every candidate all the time. And I say to people, look, if you message me, we haven't got anything for you right now, message me once a week, pick up the phone, give me a call. If you see something that grabs your attention on socials or Seek, send it to me.
Action it.
Yeah. So they're so by saying that to a candidate, like if a student sees a grad role or even a site engineer role, say, and I tell them to text me and I said, don't put your details on Seek, send it to me.
Yeah.
And if I can't help them with that company, right,
Yeah.
I'll just go, mate, put your application in, good luck.
Yeah.
And I'll keep you. Don't say that on camera, but put your application. If I can't help you with that client, put your application in, and then we'll keep moving on other clients.
Yeah.
But that way they feel like they're participating. So so you're going to speak to your clients.
Yeah.
Plus I'm going to see what grabs my attention and send you that information. Yeah. We gather that data. So yeah, I'd love to ask you, how did you find it looking for your first job?
How did I
shouldn't say that, it's your podcast.
I have to start thinking.
Sassy's a veteran podcaster, by the way.
So how did I land my first job? That's going to be a separate...
In Australia?
Yeah, that's going to be a
separate podcast?
Yeah, it's going to be taking a long hour because as an international student, I've gone through again, all ups and downs. It takes a lot of determination to get your first job, that's true. And especially...
and how many people do you think you reached out to?
So my story was like, I've gone to India during COVID times. So as soon as I graduated, I couldn't find a job in Australia because there was this period that the country was closed. So I couldn't get in here. There was like 1.5 years difference since when I graduated and landed here. So I had to actually go through this series of ups and downs of when the border's gonna open. So I didn't wait for that to happen. So I actually started working in a big project as an intern. So
you took an internship? Did you?
Internship in
so
a
would you be
large
paid for that
company.
at all?
They paid, yes.
Yeah.
They paid some money. But the focus was for me to go on to work in bigger projects so that I could learn the systems in there. That could actually help me transfer my knowledge when I start my job here.
Yeah. Well, how about I podcast you another time and we dig into that?
Yes.
Because that would help your international student friends hearing your story too. And because you, what I just said, I don't know, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you would have messaged and reached out to numerous people and organisations, yeah?
Yes. So probably I would have reached out to maybe 500 people.
500 people?
Yeah, that's the minimum, I guess.
Really? Over what
yeah.
time period?
So initial search, maybe around, as soon as I graduated, I reached out. I mean, when I say 500, probably 200, 300. And then after I've reached in Australia after 1.5 years, probably again 300.
So you reached out to people while you're in India?
Yes.
Okay.
While in India.
That's a lot of work. That's a lot of people.
And then when I've landed here, it took me 4 months to get my first job. And I've reached out to, again, a lot of people in different ways.
So you probably reached out to 300 in India and 200 in Australia?
Yeah. In the sense, from India to Australia, Australian employers. So, yeah, that's how it happened. But, yeah, the fruit came when, all at once. So after the effort, I've got actually the opportunity to get into, I think, 3 or 4 different offers all at once.
So it sort of came in like a backlog, like a flood?
Yes, and then I was a bit stressed to choose which one to go. That sort of a situation.
But this is a 1.5 year journey for you, right? You spent a 1.5 year messaging.
Yeah, it's because I should be physically present to get it offered.
Yeah.
So that was the problem. So
yeah.
If I was here before, yeah, probably sooner.
How proactive? You're in India, you're still thinking I'll go, but you're still messaging Australian businesses.
Yeah.
Right? And that, you just answered the question, 300 plus 200 to land half a dozen people chasing you.
Yeah.
You made a choice, and that's a lot of work, but that's what it takes.
Yeah, it is, yeah. Yeah.
Wish there was an easier way.
Well, that's up to, everyone has a different situation. So not everyone's the same. So, but yeah, I think I've got finally into a very comfortable job, very highly paid job that actually transformed my whole life.
And you've got mentors?
Yeah, I've got mentors. And
did you search out those mentors, or did you?
It's as you start working in a tier 1 company, you get mentors in the company.
Structure.
Yeah, as a structure, and as you go, you'll find lots of amazing people, and then you naturally start to learn from them.
Yep. We can go back to you asking the questions now.
So we'll start back to you. So
I'll just flip that.
Yeah. Have you had any life-changing? Have you helped someone who changed with one recruitment, one job that changed their entire life?
Yeah, there's a few. I think every recruitment transaction is a life-changing experience to different degrees, but one situation we had a candidate who was living interstate away from his family, so he has 3 children, and he'd been living away for 2.5 years on a large infrastructure project in Victoria. His wife and 3 kids were based up here in Brisbane, and this candidate was living interstate. So not FIFOing, just accommodation, and he'd come home every 2, 3, 4 months to see his kids. And this has been going on for 2.5 years. So I interviewed this guy. I said, man, this is not good for your family. So we ended up landing him a role in Brisbane, and he took that role and got back home. And I guess, in my opinion, that is a personal win for me, in a sense, where bringing a dad home back to his kids, his 3 kids who literally hardly know the guy for the last 2.5 years, that's a win. Aside from any money, pay rises and things like that. Yeah. So there's powerful stories like that in this industry all the time, which is a privilege to be into it. Yeah.
So good to know about the story. So as a recruiter, has there been any events that a small encouragement, a small word from you that actually changed the way the candidate has been looking the industry? Has it made any huge change? Yeah,
it's hard to give one example of that. I feel like it happens every day.
Yep.
And it's like there's a study done on pike syndrome. Have you heard of that?
No.
So the pike is a Canadian fish. Its favourite food is the minnows, and if you put the pike in the fish tank with the minnows, it just eats them all.
Right.
If you put they put a glass barrier in between the minnows and the pike, and let the pike think it just keep butting its head against the wall. So the study carried on, and they removed the glass partition, and the pike swam around and basically starved itself to death. And I think, not from any fault of anybody, but we work in recruitment every single day. We're always looking at employment. We're always looking at company growth. We're always looking at what the market's doing. Candidates are just doing their job, and they just need another job. So often that pike syndrome effect, I think, can sit on candidates as they don't really know what's out there. They don't know what they're missing, or what the opportunities are. And the only way to know is obviously researching LinkedIn, knowing people, asking the right questions.
So tell me about a time where you had a difficult conversation or a phone call that you have to convey a candidate, and what would be that?
About their performance, or that they didn't get a job, or which one?
A
hard conversation.
Yeah, hard conversations. Was there any hard candidates that you ever faced, or even clients, your companies?
I told a candidate his attitude sucked in an interview once.
Right. How did that turn out?
It didn't end well, but he had a bad attitude. So
how did he take it up?
Not very well. He just don't know if that should be podcast or not, but that's what happened.
And how?
I just listened to him, and I just looked at him and said, mate, I honestly think your attitude sucks.
Yeah.
And then I went and told my boss that after that interview, and I was only 24.
Ah, okay.
25.
Right.
And he was like 50-year-old.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So how did you manage that?
I just think that during the interview I realised there is no way in the world anything good is going to come from presenting this person.
Right.
The way he was talking about what he expects from his employer and what he did in his last job and how he reacted, and he just basically told me his whole story of how he roasted his previous employee because of this and this, and I just looked at him and thought, mate, there's no way. So that was a terrible thing for me to say.
Yeah.
Under any circumstances. There's been lots of hard conversations with candidates.
Is there anything else you can think of?
There was one candidate who we had had a written offer, actually, contract signed. The lady relocated closer to Brisbane so she could take this job. The client turned around, and this was back in when did I? It would have been 2006, 2007.
Mm-hmm.
The lady, they said out of the blue, oh, we want to do a psychometric assessment after they'd already written her a contract.
Right.
She agreed to do the assessment, and they came back with a couple of things, and they pulled the contract.
Why is that?
After she'd relocated.
Shit.
Try having that conversation.
How did that end up? It's just
Well, it ended up, in my opinion, the client looking like crap,
right.
a very confused candidate, a disappointed recruiter, but we get used to that. So it didn't really affect me, but it's like, how bad is that? Recently, as recent as, a few weeks ago, a candidate had 3 interviews, an offer, a medical, something changed. Not a written offer, but they had an offer pushed to a medical, something changed in that organisation, and the job's pulled. Once again, it doesn't make the company look very good. Candidate's confused. I'm disappointed, but I get over that. And it's the industry.
Yeah.
I
understood that.
Yeah.
Right. Probably we gonna move to the next interesting phase of topics. We're gonna go for international students.
Okay.
What are the biggest challenges that graduates from international countries face when they try to land their first job?
That's going to be an interesting question to answer. I think the discussion we just had, if they're not willing to put that work in while they're there now, to at least connect and link, then they're coming from behind the 8 ball to start with. So some of the challenge could be their own thinking and not doing what you did to get your outcome. So if they've got, first of all, get over that hurdle of, I'm going to have to start networking in Australia now.
Yeah.
And I get people from India and connect with me all the time, and I connect, say hello. That's the way.
Yeah.
And they're going to another country to live in a whole different culture, to perform a job with codes and standards that don't relate to their country.
Yeah.
It's hard. So if I went to India and decided I want to be a recruitment consultant, I feel like that's going to be harder than me moving to Sydney to become a recruitment consultant, right?
Yeah,
there's a whole lot of different things. So it's a brave thing to do to get yourself here and start hustling and find yourself a job in engineering. It's brave, especially because you've got probably family you've left behind. So that's the first thing I'll say. If you're thinking this sort of move overseas and get out, it's brave, so give yourself a pat on the back for that.
Yeah.
But you have to do those big numbers, what you're talking about, and you have to probably work harder than a local.
Yeah.
And that's not racism, that is just facts. Like, you can't deny that someone coming from another country doesn't fully understand language, culture, interactions. But what you did well was research and connect a year and a half before you turned up.
Yeah.
So you would have known Australian culture probably better than you think.
Yeah.
Whereas if someone's just not done any research, they've graduated in India and they rock up in Australia without any research, what chance do you think that, how hard is that going to be?
I understand that, true.
Yeah.
So when saying about this, what's the major differences that you find between a local person versus international graduates looking for a job? So what's the difference majorly you find?
Look, the engineers that we place in recruitment, the engineers that we place into our clients, we're always looking for good quality people. And I think, in all honesty, and this isn't just a token comment to, I don't treat anyone any different depending on where they're from. It's like, what have you done? Did you enjoy doing that? What was the outcome? What were the challenges? And just, it's a matchmaking exercise.
Yeah.
And I think it's challenging. There's a lot of local engineers, Australian engineers who we present to jobs, they get knocked back. We present international options, they get knocked back.
Is that a preference when I say if you put 2 local people and say 2 international people, where's the preference stands?
In terms of, are you trying to get me sued or?
Well, you can tell the reality.
You should cut that in. I actually think it comes back to the
Locals.
track record. No, the track record of the people. Like, if it's a local and let's say if it's an international person, it's their very first job in Australia, versus two local engineers that have 10 years experience.
Say they both are all
Local
the same
experience.
level. Say if one's got a mediocre 5 years experience and international person same has 5 years.
But has the
experience.
international person worked here at all?
Oh yeah, he's worked. I mean, the same sort of candidates, you know.
But you're talking about international students. So if you're talking about someone's first job in Australia versus a local here that's say 5 years experience,
then obviously there's someone who's local.
That's right, because there's codes and there's standards and there's things to understand.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, if I'm presenting two international candidates and two local candidates, I'll put 4 people on a shortlist to one job. I don't care where they're from, and I'll fight for that because I will stand in front of the client and fight for that if I need to. And I don't often need to because it doesn't matter where you're from. If you've got a track record in Australia, it doesn't matter.
No, that's good.
It's a free country, and you should win something based on your merit and effort, not
That's
just
good.
because you're born in Australia.
Yeah, at least we got a few. I mean, many recruiters in Australia as good as you.
As many.
Yeah.
Australia's best recruiter, mate.
Yeah, that's correct.
Didn't you know?
That's very correct.
You're Australia's best podcaster.
Let's move on to the next question.
Yeah.
So, how grades are important when you compare, say, going on for a networking event or
grades?
Yeah, how much? Yeah, grades are important.
University grades? You're talking? Yeah, sure.
Compared to like doing internships or.
You obviously want a better grade than a average grade, and you'd rather have an average grade than a poor grade.
Now, when you compare, which one is internships are more important or grades are more important?
I would say internship because it's got some. Well, you have to pass your degree, right? That's a given. But certainly internships give you that practical
experience.
Knowledge, experience. You're likely going to catch a mentor around that environment somewhere. So 100%, you want to be in rubbing shoulders with people who are on the team, pushing forward, making progress, getting things done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to know. Do you remember? Have you ever remembered about any? Can you think of any story about someone who actually started as an international graduate and who actually grown out to be a very solid, to build a solid career?
It's funny, like most of the people I've placed internationally, most have worked in Australia already, and they're relatively senior candidates. I don't place, if you're a graduate, I would hand your resume over to one of my clients for free.
Yeah.
I don't know if that shocks some people. I presume it wouldn't because they might get a little internship or might get some part-time work working in a pre-contracts office or whatever it might be. So we would often hand graduate resumes straight to our clients just as a, by the way, this guy was sharp.
Yeah.
See if you can help him. That's a powerful thing to do. And as recruiters, we make good money on the placements we make, and we don't have to trying to be squeeze dollars out of a graduate placement.
Yeah.
And it helps the graduate, and it helps the company, and it helps us in a way that's a bit subliminal, but we're doing something that's we can do. We give away career advice. We if someone wants some advice on, how to they're going for a pay rise and they need a little bit of help, like what questions should I ask to land that pay rise? Like we help with all those things for free anyway.
Right.
So, and recruiters should do that, in my opinion.
Yeah. The actual question was.
I didn't answer the question.
No. So, can you think of a story where someone started as an international graduate, grown up to build a
Yeah.
strong foundation.
Yeah, so to
in
answer
career.
that, what I was premising it with the fact that we do, a lot of the international people we place have been here working. I have placed numerous people that have been their very first job in this country, in Australia, but it's few and far between for recruiters to do that. And the reason is we come with a fee, and if someone might see a brand new international candidate as a potential risk. So they're thinking, well, am I going to pay you a recruitment fee?
Yeah.
So there's a guy who had landed his first job in Australia already, so he wasn't a fresh graduate, but he'd spent 8 months in a government organisation,
Yep.
civil engineer, had his RPQ, really smart, young, virtually a graduate. So we put him onto a project in Southeast Queensland as a site engineer. So he was promoted to a project engineer, and then he became like a TMR specialist on this project, and now he's a senior project engineer, and that was probably 3.5, quite a long time ago, that placement.
Yeah.
So he's a very good success story of a young,
In
virtually a graduate.
How long did that take him?
Well, he'd be 4 years in Australia now,
Right.
and he'd be a senior PE.
Right.
He's done really well, super smart. He just blew everyone away. Couldn't,
In just 4 years.
Indian candidate, yeah.
Right.
Smart. And it's honestly, it's frustrating. It's just about getting that first job, isn't it? I mean, you remember the story yourself, so.
Yeah.
And it's just, don't give up. I mean, if someone tells you just where to go and don't ever talk to me again and they block your number, like, sure, maybe stop stalking them.
Yeah.
But otherwise, stalk, follow up,
Yeah.
don't quit.
So let's talk about international recruitment. Yeah, we move away from students now. So when people who get their visas to, after many years of experience in other countries, what are readily available roles that, say, for example, engineers might find a few things as, different set of codes and standards might be different, but there could be some roles in construction that, you can like readily transfer from country to country. What sort of roles?
Estimating is one, something pre-contracts in general, like the software is quite global.
Yep.
And the principles of building an estimate and using that software are very similar. Obviously, there's different codes and standards here and whatnot.
Do you think planners?
Definitely, you can get a virtual P6 planner now if you wanted to.
Yeah.
And you send them the schedules and they organise it and update. So, yeah, project controls. There's definitely an international crossover. P6 is all across the world.
People could, learn that before coming. That could be useful.
Yeah. And a lot of the estimating software, planning, control software is very, very universal.
Yeah. Mostly the softwares are, say, even if it's designed, possibly you reckon, could be universally used software.
Certain countries use the similar codes to us. Singapore, Saudi Arabia, they use British codes generally.
Yeah.
Or was that American? Saudi Arabia might use American codes.
Yeah. Possibly.
Saudi Arabia, they use American codes.
New Zealand and Australia they work on similar codes.
Yeah. I think British, American, and so there are those crossover opportunities. But once again, if you're here based in Australia, you're more than likely better chance of finding something than just trying to do a virtual assistant role from another country.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, Australia's a massive country town. Things get done through relationship, face to face. People don't like handing you money unless they've met you.
Yeah.
And some countries that doesn't operate that way.
So when you talk about relationships, in the sense, how much is important when you apply for a job in a portal versus you talk to someone and keeping them on loop, which is more important? Is applying an online job?
They say even a blind sow gets an acorn once in a while. So if you throw enough stuff on Seek, you get response.
Yeah.
Eventually. Face to face is so much more powerful. So I don't know if Seek's redundant or not, but we haven't I haven't personally posted a Seek ad in nearly 6 years.
Right.
Yeah. That was partly from my old employer, 4020 Consult. I'll give Joel a shout out. He's a good man.
Yeah.
Whatever he posts this, but he taught me a lot. And one of the things he taught me was you don't need to use Seek to advertise for jobs.
No more, isn't it?
It's helpful. It gives you some branding.
It's getting AI at times.
You just have to find people.
Yeah.
Rather than waiting for them to click apply.
Yeah. So keen to know. Take me through some interesting construction projects that you hired for, like maybe big or unique.
It's interesting. I'd love to be involved in more construction projects at the very beginning, and collaborate with the project directors, and because oftentimes we get called in when things aren't going well. One example was a major project, I won't mention it, was very well behind, and people had left this project, and the project director had made a call to me and said, can we man up? There were 3 positions that needed because all these people had left. So we kind of often get involved when the construction is in progress. Not answering the question.
No. So it's about, for candidates or someone who's watching, like important, some unique projects or bigger projects, sort of like, is there any bigger projects you worked on, say for example for Olympics, that sort of stuff?
Oh yeah, so Netwerx, we support either directly to the project or via potentially sometimes a third-party consultancy. We work major water utilities programs.
Yeah.
We've
Any
worked
specific?
with renewable. We've worked with Queensland Hydro. We've worked with urban utilities, and some of that has been via other third parties. So they're government projects, large.
I'm asking, like, is there any unique projects? You know what I mean? Like.
Like strange ones or weird ones?
No, bigger projects. Tell about, say, for example, what is that? Gold Coast Rail project, like something important and unique, those sort of stuffs, not about how Netwerx works.
Yeah.
It's about for candidates.
Yeah, so
Projects that's gonna make candidates interesting, Like let's say Netwerx worked for Olympics stadium.
Yeah.
That sort of stuff. Tell about interesting projects you worked in.
Well, I mentioned before Queensland Hydro, so that is a major project here in Queensland that since the change of government may or may not happen.
Yeah.
And we help with large, sometimes 10-year capital works programs, 5 years plus 5 years, and it could be a water authority, Department of Transport main roads, where we're needing to put in engineers, project controllers.
Anything like unique projects?
I think they're all unique, aren't they?
Kind of, difficult.
Well, even in some ways,
tunnels.
Queensland Hydro is a good example, although we don't know the future of it. But it's a very unique project. They attempting to build, a massive hydro battery. It's a big deal how pumped hydro actually works, and that's very unique. And there's massive arguments about renewables, climate change. Should we push the state all down renewables path?
Yeah.
Or are we just trying to manage 2 systems at once?
Yeah.
Doubling the price. I'm not an economist.
I understand.
But we feel every project is kind of unique.
Yeah.
Like whether it's, hey, we're doing a small subdivision, or we have a $5 billion rail link going in from Logan to Gold Coast.
Yeah.
They're all unique. People are unique.
Yeah.
We don't overcomplicate it. We're in the people business.
Are you going to work towards for the Olympic works?
All the Olympic works will definitely be impacting our business.
Yeah.
And especially the larger infrastructure that's servicing the communities in water space, in transport.
Yeah.
So yes, like we're expecting, there's a lot of work to do in the next 6.5 years.
Yeah, right. That's
we don't do a lot of building at this point in time. and the
More
building
what?
we're typically more in the larger infrastructure,
Yeah.
those type of big projects.
Yeah.
But once again, everything from administrators through to project directors.
Yeah.
We service all those projects at all those levels.
Tell me about a unique role that you come across your experience.
We get given often very unique roles.
Yeah.
Just as early as today, I had one that I'm not sure about, but we'll see. Likely the hardest one and most interesting one was a dam safety engineer.
Right.
In Queensland. And I took on this as a retained assignment, and it was a very hard search and very few dam safety engineers in Australia. And we did fill the role, and that...
Did they want specifically dam-based safety?
Yeah,
guys?
they ended up with about 80% of what they wanted.
Right.
There was no candidate that I could find. I took the candidate, and he's now become the engineering manager in that state-owned organisation.
Engineering manager?
He was promoted from a dam safety engineer to an engineering manager.
Oh, so dam safety engineer to a...
Engineering manager.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like a dam engineering manager.
Mm.
Right. Interesting.
This is regional Queensland too, so it was not easy to fill, and I likely will never retain a job like that again.
Right. No, that's interesting to know.
Mm.
And I also know you get paid a lot of money for these unique sort of roles. And tell me about your highest bonus that you got.
My highest placement fee?
Highest placement fee, yeah.
My highest placement fee is actually about $39,000.
39?
Yeah, and
Right.
I've heard stories of people way bigger than that.
Yeah.
You know, especially the exec recruiters. Like we do middle management. I'll call it exec recruitment, but not C-level.
Right.
So I'm not a C-level recruiter. I've done one C-level role. That guy, it was a CIO role. He lasted 8 years.
Yep.
It was his very first C-level position.
Yep.
And he's now gone on to other very senior roles. That was a very good success story, but it's honestly the only C-level position I've ever placed. So general management, operations management, project directors, more than happy, more than comfortable with that network. But the C-level recruitment community, they're very specialised. And I'm not saying I wouldn't take on a C-level role. I'm just saying it's not my experience.
C-level. What do you mean by C-level?
Like CEO, COO.
Right.
Yeah. I've done one of those roles in my life.
So we will go back to this international recruitment.
Mm-hmm.
We'll clip onto that. So tell about when on an international person, what sort of gaps that they need to fill in terms of cultural difference in order to get straight away a job. What cultural fit they need to have to get a job?
I don't think it's a cultural fit. I think it's an inquisitiveness is what they need, and curiosity. I don't think there's anything they need to. Obviously, if I'm moving to a country, I'm wanting to learn some cultural nuances, surely, which I can research easily about, general politeness and humour, easily researchable. I think it's more, are you an inquisitive human being, and are you inquisitive about that company enough for them to realise that?
That in the sense, is it an attitude question?
It's an attitude thing, yeah.
Right.
And cultural nuances that even if you came to another country on a holiday, you would want to do some research on the cultural nuances. But in terms of employment, I think I just still think curiosity, energy, and genuine, not just acting. Yeah. But looking at a company and really being inquisitive. Get on a Teams meeting from overseas. You want to be armed with a few questions about that organisation. So I think it's just, there's always going to be cultural clashes with even, let's say, South Africans, white South Africans. They come here, they look the part, they fit in like an Aussie everywhere, but they're culturally just very different human beings.
How could they adapt?
Yeah, well, it takes time, number one. Like, we're not going to be interested, not interesting.
Yeah. So you can say attitude, like probably
attitude, curiosity.
interest,
Yeah.
and good English possibly.
Yeah. And like we said at the start, knowing where your superpower is, what you know you're really good at, where you want to take your career. If you just go, hey, my name's Sassy and I'm an engineer, what have you got? It's like, no, I'm an engineer and I really love, building ITPs or, pre-contracts. And just
Tell in detail.
You need to know yourself too and what you're strong in. Don't just rock up thinking that someone's going to give you a job because you finished an engineering degree.
Yeah.
It's not going to work. And some people do engineering degrees and they really don't want to be engineers.
Yeah, that's right.
Do you know anyone like that?
Yeah, I understand
Sorry,
that.
you love engineering.
Sort of.
You do though.
So some people might have 10 plus years experience, and they
From
land,
overseas?
Yeah, from overseas, and they land here.
Yep.
Still, is there any tip that you could tell them, like they need to be aware of, or they just don't overdo things, sort of things? Is there something?
It's
like
good
that?
if they've come with that experience, and I always attribute that to my report writing when I submit candidates like that.
That's good to know. So they can reach you to a recruiter, even they don't have a local experience. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, they should link in with as many.
So you're just ignoring international students then?
Me?
Yeah, international.
I might have misunderstood your question.
No, I'm just kidding. So international students have zero experience, so that's a problem. But
work out the
some
similarities. Like if you're like looking at Australian construction companies and you've done your degree in India and you might have done some practice in India as well, are there software systems that kind of sync? Are there processes that sync?
Yeah.
And that kind of research is how do you find out, Forums like what you're setting up here and kicking off it would be really useful to international students on some of those software. You might even do something to help them with that.
Yeah.
Because if they're mentioning those things in their CV and they're lining up with the systems that are being operated with here, that's just going to make the language seem a lot more synergistic. I think, is that a word?
Yeah.
If it's not, it's just become one.
Yeah. So that even with many years of experience, that's this commonalities, that something they got to look at.
But if someone's had 10 years in India experience or Africa or anywhere, Middle East, and they come here and they've got 2 years, like I just tell my clients, this person has 12 years experience. They're here. And if they've survived 6 months in an Australian, environment, and then survived another year and then 2 years, plus you add on all the international experience. And keep in mind, Middle East, often their civil engineering degree is a 5-year degree.
Oh, all right.
So these guys come out, civil engineer, but also like a construction management person also. And they're very astute, well-trained, high work ethic a lot of the time.
Yep.
And there are bad, mediocre Aussie engineers.
Yeah.
There are bad, mediocre international engineers.
Yeah.
And there are people who step up and, become the top 10, 20% in their industry, regardless of where they're from.
Yeah.
They work hard, they'll do well in this country.
Yeah.
One of my, through the GFC, the whole market just completely capitulated. And we were sitting there wondering if the phone system was broken because the phone literally just did not ring. Probably 30-40% of our agency got chopped at the time.
Is there any books or podcasts that you want to share that changed your life?
Yeah, recently the James Clear book, Atomic Habits. I think any podcast that's anything aside from me thinking my own thoughts benefits me. Years ago I had built an Amway business, and we don't build an Amway business now, but we still tap into that education, learning about independent business ownership, learning about working on a fair playing field,
Yeah.
And it's for the betterment of others ultimately.
Yeah.
And Atomic Habits, I mentioned that. The Magic of Thinking Big is on my desk all the time.
What?
Chapter 12, goal setting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anything that's just not me talking to myself is a benefit. I can't. Yeah.
So what in Atomic Habits that helped you?
I think the way James explains, and I follow him on LinkedIn now, and he just comes out with some of the best little snippets. But the clarity on the actual impact of what our habits are doing to us,
Yeah.
and we are now, based on what we chose to do in the last 5-10 years, and just the way James Clear brings that like a smack in your forehead, and that you can't ignore.
Yeah.
And
About
there's
what?
a systematic approach to actually developing the habits that he brings as well.
Yeah.
And I just feel so I've got so far to go.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like I take my vitamins every day, tick. You know, go to gym, tick.
Oh yeah.
It's like, yeah, we are what we do.
How? So you reckon people who actually go through that book can benefit?
Absolutely.
Yeah. You wanted our followers to read that book?
Go on to James Clear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Bring clarity on it does bring clarity on your goals and where you are, where you've gotten to.
Yeah.
You know, if you're a university student, you've gone through the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And you'll read that book and realise, oh, okay, yeah, you know, you can just see yourself in it. It's like looking in a mirror.
Yeah. No, that's good. Good point. Thanks for that.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Mark.
If you want to follow Netwerx, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, get in touch anytime. Just reach out.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sassy.
All good. Thank you.